Hi and welcome to this video. I'm Adrian from Tactical Project Manager, and this video we're gonna cover Microsoft Project, and specifically I'm gonna teach you how to work with tasks and how to enter tasks, because tasks are the basis of every project plan, and you're gonna learn how to enter the activities in the schedule and how to link them, how to enter the duration, and generally what features are useful when you're setting up your first project. So let's get started. I have launched a blank screen, blank project plan. And what you see here is we are in the Gantt view, where on the left side of the screen we have the grid layout where we can enter tasks. And on the right side, there is the timeline or the calendar view where the Gantt chart, the bars, will be displayed. So entering tasks in Microsoft Project is very simple. There are a couple of ways, actually two ways how you can enter tasks, and I find the easiest task, at least when you are familiar with the Office applications, is just to enter the tasks into the grid layout. So let's imagine we are creating a project, and in every project you start with the planning activities. So the first step is always to, for example, create a project plan. Another activity is to create the project budget. We also need to find the right team members, so staffing the project. What else do we have to do? We have to create the project charter. And then once we are done, we have to get the project approved. So we have to present our plan and our business case to management, and then once we get the approval, we can continue. So get project approved. So see, I have just entered the tasks one below the other, nothing else so far. So the next step is to enter the duration. So how long will each task take to complete? And the duration is not necessarily the same as the effort. It's the time, the total amount of working time it takes to finish the task. So create the project plan. Let's say it's 10 days. So we can enter 10. And then there's a shortcut or short form to enter durations. And for days, it's 10D. Yeah, 10D for 10 days. But there are other forms. So when you're working with weeks, it's like 10WKS or 10W. Okay, so now that's the project plan. It takes us 10 days, and the project budget is then the next step, but probably we can do that in parallel. And let's say it takes us 5 days. Then staffing the project would be the next step. This is, let's say, 4 weeks in total. So then we get to the first document we have to prepare, which is the project charter. And this we only start once we have completed the project plan and the budget, because we can't do everything at the same time. So project charter, sitting together with the client, writing down the expectations, the scope of the project, etc. Let's say it takes us 1 week. I could have also entered like 5 days, so it's just the same. Get the project approved. This is just more like a milestone, so it's one specific day, let's say, where we have the presentation for the project. So it's 1D. So now here you can see the bars appear one below the other, which means they are not put in a sequence yet. So of course they are not taking place at the same time. The first thing I want to do is to maintain the project start date. So when should the project start? And for this you go to the project tab, project information. So let's say we start in the first week of February. And we want to plan forward, so schedule from project start date. So now here we are. And the first task is to create a project plan. So it starts also on the day the project is launched, which is the 2nd of February. And then the next thing is the project budget. So you could do these in parallel, I mean, depending on how much time it takes. For now, I will assume that it's done in a sequence. So now we want to link those tasks. So we create the project plan first and then the budget. So how can we indicate to MS Project that the task of budget creation comes after the project plan? And for this we enter the predecessor, so the task which comes before the budget setup, which is the project plan, which is, as you can see, the row number 3. So the predecessor of task number 4, create a project budget, is the row number 3. And now see what happens. Those tasks are now put in the right sequence and they are linked. You can see there is this arrow to connect both tasks, which indicates that they're dependent on each other. Then we have the staffing. Let's say this starts in parallel with the other activities. So you see there's now the bar which is just below the other ones. Now the project charter, we will only start to work on that once we have set up the project plan and the budget. Otherwise it would be too much work. So the predecessor of this task is the project budgeting to be finished. So let's enter now again. We have to enter the row number 4, or the task number 4, as a predecessor. So we have to enter 4 here, which is the row number of the predecessor here. Now watch what happens on the Gantt chart. So now we have told Microsoft Project that the project charter, we work on that after we have created the budget. And those tasks are again connected. Get project approved. Well, what are the things that need to be done before? Basically all the activities have to be completed. So we can enter multiple predecessors here. This is also possible. So it means that task number 3, the project plan must be done, and we enter a comma to separate the values. The project budget has to be created, which is task number 4. We have staffed the project, which is task number 5, and we have created the project charter, which is task number 6. So, oops. Okay, so my mistake here, you have to enter a semicolon to separate the values, not a comma. And now those tasks are perfectly linked. One thing we still want to do, a couple of things actually. So you see here these icons, these pins. This indicates whether the task is scheduled automatically or manually. And basically what this means, when you use manual scheduling, you can plan or you can schedule each task on whatever date you want. You have the flexibility, but it also means you have to do the work of going through every task, setting the start date one by one, which can be really a lot of really time consuming when you have a large project. The other task mode is auto scheduling, which is the biggest benefit of Microsoft Project, and I have an entire video which I'm linking below this one, which explains the difference between manual and automatic project scheduling or task scheduling. So automatic scheduling basically means that the Microsoft Project tries to optimize our schedule for the minimum amount of time. So it means there are no gaps, and there won't be any gaps in the project plan where there are times where no work takes place. It's all optimized for minimum project duration, and of course MS Project considers also weekends or holidays and whatever days off that you maintain, and the working times and so on, and the availability of your resources if you are working with the resource scheduling or resource planning. So I always recommend you use the automatic scheduling. Now I could change this for every task here, set it to auto schedule, but I can also just highlight or mark the rows and then go to the task tab, and then click the button here, auto schedule. And now you see the color has changed from azure to blue, and also the icon here in front of the task has changed. So now we are in the auto schedule mode. But the plan itself hasn't changed because we have already optimized the schedule here. We have no gaps in the schedule. All right, so you see it's very simple to enter tasks. Now, when you are working on a huge project with lots of deliverables and tasks, you want to group those tasks a little bit just to make the usage of the plan easier. So for this purpose, we can create a summary task. Now, all I have to do, so these are basically project planning activities. So they are part of the first phase, which we call project planning. So now this is just entered as a task. Set it to auto schedule again, and I think we just have to select those rows that we want to go underneath. Is that the right button? Yes. So this indentation button, you see, let's go back once more. Sorry about that. So this is what we had so project planning is now currently Microsoft Project thinks this is a regular task, but we just want to make this a summary task and list those other 5 tasks below the one. And for that one, we just select the tasks, the child tasks, and we press the indent task button. And as you can read here, if you click the button, it means this task becomes a subtask. So, and watch what happens. The first task now is a summary task, which means it basically it's the umbrella for all the other tasks going below, and you see it's now in bold, and you can expand or collapse the task, all the tasks here. And if you look at the start date and end date, you notice that the start date is our project start date. It's also the start date of the first task in the schedule, and the end date is the end date of the last task that will be completed in the project. So this makes it really nice. If you also, when you make a printout, you can just expand or collapse the task as you like, and you can change the level of granularity that you want to see, and you can create as many group tasks as you like, and use a structure that makes sense for your project. Usually I start with I put down the phases like project planning, and then let's say concept phase, then we have an implementation where you build the actual product or process, implementation phase, maybe there's a test phase if you work in software development, and then there's a closing or finishing phase. So it makes sense to start with to group the tasks by the phase, but then below each task, below each phase, you can apply your own grouping and create these summary tasks to create further small packages. So that's basically how you work with tasks. Now, a couple of more things that are helpful is I've shown you the change of the scheduling mode. Also, what do you do when you delete a task? Well, it's like in Excel, you select the rows, and then you go here to clear all. I mean, you can also delete the entire row, but clear all is just removes the tasks from the plan. And clear all entire row will also delete the icons in front of that. All right. So, and you can see it automatically updates the Gantt chart view. And if you're scrolling, if you have many tasks, and if it's a project which expands over several months or maybe even years, and you want to scroll to a task, so let's say the create budget task, you just select the task, right click, and then where is it? Scroll to task here. It will automatically scroll to the Gantt chart view to the task that you have selected. Couple of more things. So now we have just set up the project plan. Some other things you can do with the tasks. We can convert the last task, the approval step, to a milestone, because it's not actually a task. It's just a one-day, mini task. So let's select that. Let's see if I can convert it to a milestone. Okay. Well, I can convert a task to a milestone, as I see here. Let's just go back. What you have to do is then enter a 0. I think it's a 0 day. You see? So now 0 days duration means the task is considered a milestone, and it will change the appearance. It's like now this symbol, and there's a date. So this is also very nice to make the visual appearance more clear for you. And then what you can also do is, like, you can maintain advanced settings for every task. So you can double click on a task, or you can also select the task and then click on view task information. Here you can, You can adjust the percent complete. So is how much of the task is already complete? Is it 50% complete, 80% complete? This is something you can maintain here. The predecessors, you can also maintain those in this view. You can assign resources to the task, so people, team members working on it. Under the advanced setting, you can change the calendar that is being used for the task. So that's something you want to do if you may have to do, for example, when you have tasks that should take place on the weekend. So normally MS Project doesn't schedule tasks on the weekend, but it may be a need for certain tasks in your project. So for those purposes, you need to create an extra calendar. I have also a separate video on that, how to allow weekend work for specific tasks. So this you would change here. You can see you can also mark the task as a milestone, what would be the consequence? Well, the duration would be set to 0. It would change our project plan would change, and it would change in appearance with this symbol. Also, maybe nice is to have, you can make notes here. So just to add reminders, things you need to do, for example. So you don't need to record that somewhere else. And you can maintain all the values we have changed or we have entered below here. You can maintain this also in the task information view. Now, one more thing I want to show you is if you have a number of tasks, task 1, task 2, task 3, task 4. Let's set them to auto schedule. Let's just have each task be 1 day. And now I want to link those tasks just as I have done before, so that they appear in the right sequence. So I could enter here the predecessors one by one, but this is a time-consuming job. So what you can do is just you select those rows and then press the link button, link the selected tasks. And what Microsoft Project will do, it will just schedule one task after the other in the order that they are appearing here in the rows. So let's click that and watch what happens on the Gantt chart view. Boom. You see? So now they are appearing in the order that we want, and Microsoft Project has entered the predecessors. So that's also very, very useful for when you're working with a large number of tasks. Now finally, you watched me change the task mode, so manual and auto scheduling. You can use both. I mean, you can use a combination of both. It doesn't have to be like all tasks auto scheduled or all tasks manually scheduled. It can be a mixed. But what you can change as a default, you can say which scheduling mode should be used by default. So, and in our case, it makes sense to set here the auto scheduled as a default. So now when I enter a task 5, you see the icon is now indicating it's an auto scheduled task. So really easy. You see, it's not difficult at all to use Microsoft Project and to enter new tasks when planning a project. So I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel, where you'll find more helpful instructional videos for MS Project and for managing projects in general. And yeah, also check out the Tactical Project Manager blog, which is linked under the video. All the best, take care, and bye-bye.